there fam, and welcome to a new video. In this video, we are going to wrap up the 8 books that I read in March, which was Women's History Month, and I had a lot of plans, but they did not go to plan because of the one book I was reading in March that just slapped me straight in the face. Anyway, let's not talk about it. It's funny because out of the 8 books, I have already spoken to y'all at length about 6 in different videos. So I will be linking those videos as and when. But let's just get into it. But before we get into it, we must talk about stats. So, stats bitch, hi! Hello, it is I, Stats Bitch. I am now going to tell you about various stats about Smriti's March reading. She read 8 books. The total number of books that she read was 3,891 with an average of about 490 pages. So basically, just a lot of chunky books. Alright, cool. The average page per day that she read was 125 pages, which is not bad. She is trying to read about 40,000 pages in the year, so by dividing that, she wants to get to about 110 pages a day. So she's excelled with that goal completion. With a new purchase versus shelf, she wanted to read more shelf books, but she has read only 2 shelf books compared to 6 of the newly purchased books in 2021. In terms of genre, she read 5. There is 4 mysteries, 1 thriller, 1 romance, 1 memoir, and 1 contemporary. So do with that what you will. In terms of fiction versus non-fiction, there were 7 fiction and only 1 non-fiction, which she scraped in the very end of her reading month. In terms of countries, she has done very poorly and read only from 3, and all of them primarily very white countries, with 4 being from the UK, 3 from the US, and 1 from Ireland. In terms of gender, she read 8 female authors. So yay, good on her for reading only women authors during Women's Month. Anyway, rating wise, she gave 1 book 2 stars, 1 3.5 stars, 4 4 stars, and 2 4.5 stars. So I won't say she had the best reading month, but she had a pretty successful reading month. Thanks, Stats Bitch, for your statsy ways. Normally, what I do is I talk to you about the books based on like my not so liked to my best liked. However, since I've told you I've already spoken to you about 6, I'm just gonna talk to you based on like when I read them. So the first book that I read was this one, and this just, made me the way I am right now, which is not great. Anyway, I read A Little Life by Hani Nakahara, and I had a lot of feelings about this one, which I spoke about in 2 separate videos. So if you have read this book and want to discuss it while I was reading it, because I like basically just shot my thoughts out into like the camera while I was reading it, and also I have a spoiler free version of it where in the end there are like timestamps. I talk about like my thoughts and like should you read this book or not, so you can check that out because I go into detail about should you read this book or not if you have not read this book, or generally my thoughts about this book. I gave this book a 4 star, and I put a lot of thought into it, and yes, I think it is definitely a 4 star in terms of characterizations and in terms of writing. It is a 10 out of freaking 10, like an 11 if I could give it. But in terms of like everything else, in terms of the plot, in terms of atmosphere, that there really wasn't much, more like a 6 or a 7 max. That's why I got it down to a 4 star. But as I said, more thoughts on it in the other videos, which I will link down and up and all of that sort of stuff for you. Now, after reading this book, I was just like, I can't do life anymore. I had plans to read a lot of different kinds of books, but I just couldn't do it. So I went to my comfort genre of my past, which is mysteries and thrillers and all of that. And I tried to read 5 books by women who are quite like the thing in the genre these days, but I haven't read any of their books. And I tried to find myself a new favorite. Did I find one? Yes, I did. So you can check out that video to see my entire thoughts. But I will just tell you the 5 books that I read and the star rating that I gave to each of them, and you can check out that video for all of my thoughts. I go into detail about my thoughts into those books with an understanding of what I liked in terms of the plot, the writing, the pacing, the characters, a lot of things. You'll see them here. Yeah, I really broke it down in terms of what I thought of the book. And it was a good time, I think. I think I did a good job with that video. But anyway, the books that I read were Watching You by Lisa Jewell, and I gave this a 4 star. I See You by Claire Mackintosh. I just keep like interchanging these two in terms of names because it's Watching You and I See You. But anyway, so I See You by Claire Mackintosh, I gave a 2 star. I did not like this one. The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor, I gave a 4.5 star. In the Woods by Tana French, I gave a 3.5 star. And Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, I gave a 4 star. Now, after watching 5 seasons of Criminal Minds, I'm telling you, I went through it this month, and those 5 books, I decided I needed a break from like the thriller mystery genre, and I decided to read a romance. And the book that I chose was The Secret Bridesmaid by Katie Birchall, and this wasn't actually quite a romance, but I'll get to it. So, this book is basically about this one girl who is a professional bridesmaid, which is basically she's a wedding planner, but for the people who are not comfortable to hire a wedding planner because they don't want to feel incompetent in front of other people, so they hire a professional bridesmaid who's basically the wedding planner. I don't get the logic of that, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. Anyway, so she has been doing a great job all this while, and she's been doing amazing, and we see that. And then she is hired by like a royal family, not like the royal family, but a royal family, which are like the it crowd. The daughter of this royal family was like the it girl who had like her problems and all of that back in the day, but now she's getting married, and she used to be like super in like with the paparazzi and stuff like that, but now she's like lived this very like no one knows what's going on with her life. But anyway, it turns out that she's like this really big pain in the ass, and she clearly has a lot of trust issues and all of that. And the book is basically about this secret bridesmaid trying to win over this very problematic and annoying bride. Okay, that's basically what it's about. If I had to describe it in terms of movies, it would basically be The Devil Wears Prada meets 27 Dresses. But I don't know. I thought that this book was actually pretty cute. The writing was nice. I went through it really fast. The plot was definitely like predictable, but I thought that she peppered in a lot of like these cute moments throughout that kept you like interested and rooting for the characters. So that was good. The romance didn't even come in till like the 50% mark, and even after the 50% mark, it just kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't really root for them per se, but whatever. It really wasn't about them. It was more about like friendships. So if you are looking for a book that is like sweet and cute and all about friendships, then this is a book for you. The last book that I read this month is Hunger by Roxane Gay, and wow, this book Wow. This book talks about Roxane Gay and her body, and it's basically her memoir. From the very beginning, we get to know about her life and her as a child, told through vignettes of her looking at pictures and describing them to us. She tells us about her family. She is Haitian. Her parents are Haitian, and she is first generation American. And it's just that part is great. We get to know about her life and all of that sort of stuff. And then we get to know about a time when she was 12 years old where she was gang raped by a bunch of boys who she knew, sort of. And then how she decided to cope with it. And one of the ways that she decided to cope with it was to eat food to make sure that she was large enough and strong enough and not desirable. So things like that don't happen to her again. And of course, this is a 12-year-old and she didn't quite know how to deal with it. So this was the way that she decided to cope. And yeah, like definite trigger warnings for like fat shaming and like anything to do with the body, and of course also like rape and sexual assault, though the rape and sexual assault are not like brutally described. So there's that. But this book was a lot, and I think I'm still honestly trying to get all of my thoughts around this. But it was so wonderfully written. It is they're very short chapters in which she describes like her life up till now, and then after that she talks about her experiences just living in her body and what that means and what the society treats her like, and how do they treat her body and how that makes her feel, and what are the sort of things that she goes through on a regular basis, be it so minute and stupid even to even think of, but like really really small things like being on an airplane or going to shop at a grocery store or going to a gym and what's that like, and um being like fat myself, I totally felt a lot of things that she spoke about in this book. I felt seen, and I don't know. I felt like a lot of things were said in this book that perhaps I've always also wanted to say, or things that I have always felt. And yeah, like just it's a tough topic to talk about for me, especially right now. But I think that it did a great job in talking about all of these things. It's not a triumphant book in any sort of way. It is not a book where you come out of it and feel like, oh my god, I feel uplifted and full of joy or anything like that. It is not. It just is bleak and it tells you about reality. That's basically it. So if you want a no holes barred, full to full confessional sort of thing as to what it is to live in a fat body, this is it. And this is just like her experience. And in no way does this mean that it's an all encompassing sort of experience and everyone deals with this. But it is correct to an extent. So yeah, that was what I felt about Hunger, and I feel like I'm definitely gonna have more thoughts about it soon once I like fully sit with it. But yeah, so those are the 8 books that I read in March. I have a fun April to look forward to. So I do hope that you are going to be taking part of Lit with Indian Lit with me, which if you don't know what that is about, then like what are you doing? I'm gonna link you to all those videos where I explain it. But that's about it. Do let me know what was your favorite book that you read this month, or a book that really stuck with you. And I guess that's it. I will see you in my next video. Bye!